Hello, everybody. I'm going to go ahead and do a reading on Jools and Tamron. Tamron, who was hosting a show, and Jools, she had Jools on for a guest. Jools is a woman who became famous on TikTok for her like very demure, like her videos that were like very demure and stuff like that. So they had her on as a guest, and I want to read this situation because I found that to be interesting, their interaction to be very interesting. Okay, so my first question is, why was Jools brought on to the show to begin with? Why did they do that? Why did they bring Jools onto the show? Obviously, she's an entertainment person. She's well known. It makes sense in that regard. But why specifically her? Why specifically Jools? Let's do one more time. One more. Her personality fits. They felt her presence would bring a lot of eyes to the show. A new life. Okay. It would be easy. Career trajectory. This is about Tamron. You know what? This actually lines up with something my friend said in passing, which is that they're trying to change Tamron's image or like her reach, and they thought having Jools on the show would be a good vehicle for that. It's a road that Tamron doesn't necessarily care for. I want to figure that out in a second. But yeah, they thought that it would bring more eyes, it would bring more revenue, and they take Jools to be a genuinely happy person, kind of bubbly. So they thought that her being on the show would just be good vibes and just be good for PR. Okay. Yeah. And it didn't go that way, did it? Didn't really go that way. Okay. But it looks like that was largely done because they like Jools' public image and they want Tamron to pivot slightly. Okay, how did Tamron feel about this particular choice in Jools? How does she feel? How does Tamron feel about the choice? She likes the show. Oh. They don't agree like ideology wise. She doesn't necessarily care for Jools before or after the show. She doesn't really care for her. She was like, okay, I don't know why y'all brought her on here into my space, but I'm gonna be poised about it. I'm gonna hold myself a certain way about it, which I'm sorry, but them facial expressions were not giving poise. But anyway, yeah, I'm gonna be relaxed about it. I'm gonna be calm. I'm not gonna make a fuss. I don't know. I don't know, Tamron. I don't know if you if you're built to have certain people who's like you don't agree with on the show. Yeah, she felt like Jools was entering her space and she had to tolerate. Yeah. You could have chose somebody different. You know, that's not entirely surprising. Tamron does give that energy. I don't like that for Jools, but she does give that energy. Okay, How do these two women feel about each other? I know I got part of it, part of Tamron's, but how do these women feel about each other? Yeah, we'll stick with this deck. And one more time. Okay. Okay. There's a generic respect here. Um it's like they're actively trying not to form opinions about each other. It's yeah. It's like they're trying to hold a level of professionalism. They don't think either they both think that this was a bad career move. But as for like each other, Tamron's trying not to form an opinion on Jools. Jools is trying not to form an opinion on Tamron. It's they're both trying to be the bigger person in this scenario. Okay. So like yeah, but yeah, they don't like each other. But ultimately they are still trying to be the bigger person, which I guess that makes sense. If you're trying this hard to be the bigger person, that must mean you don't y'all clash. That must be what that means. If you got to try this hard. Oh, I guess we're just in this situation because it's how things have aligned. This is the way it goes. I appreciate the effort, ladies. I do. Um, Jools had a very interesting message on her segment, and I want to see if it reached the right people. Did that message touch the people that it needed to touch? Like, are people gonna understand what she was trying to say? Let me see. Are people gonna understand it? One more time. Ooh, no! Don't lose it. Okay. Are people gonna understand? Okay. Yeah. They're not necessarily taking the lesson to heart. They get where she's coming from, but it's just like right now we need money. The message is got though. Oh, all these cards don't necessarily, them being upside down doesn't necessarily mean anything for all of them. It's like message received. We see what you're saying. We would like to have that our problems in your situation. That kind of that it's that kind of feeling. Yeah, I don't think the message fell on deaf ears. I just think a lot of people are having a hard time right now. Yeah. And at this point a lot of people will just take anything. So they see what she's saying and it's like okay, I'll take that into consideration. So when I get to where you are, then I'll have this in the back of my mind. Yeah. It admittedly this is a message that a lot of people don't want to hear. The message being, by the way, that like Jools realized through this process of her becoming famous and having a lot of money that her problems did not disappear, and in a lot of ways the money kind of exacerbated certain problems that she had. um and I do see the public like they're thinking about this. They haven't completely dismissed what she said. They just don't like the message, and that has a lot to do with what our economy is looking like right now and the hard times that a lot of people are falling on. So it's not necessarily out of spite. It's just more, I hear what you're saying, but milk costs a lot of money right now. It's like that vibe. Yeah. Yeah, they're not being entirely fair about it. A lot of people are just taking it and applying it to their own lives and being like, okay, that's cute. I'm gonna be over here though. Like, and I get it. Like, if your end goal is to like earn a certain amount of money, I feel like Jools is saying, please work on yourself, because that will make everything much easier. Because if you don't, then the issues exacerbate. Sorry, I try not to hit the camera. Okay, so let's look at the success for these women in the future. What are their futures going to look like? Success for these women in the future. What does it look like? Ooh. Ooh, no. Okay. A pivot. This is going to make it hard on Jools for a while. That one. Okay. And the blessed. Okay. It is going to be difficult on Jools for a little bit. The backlash from people that are either don't get what she's saying or are going out of their way to misunderstand, that's going to get to her a little. As for Tamron, like this, at least for this show, that specific pivot that they are trying to give her, she doesn't want. So she either needs to get into something else, or she needs to like accept where they're trying to take the show. But right now she's not doing either. These are not set in stone, so they're both rethinking how they're going to approach their careers in the future. They haven't made decisions about it yet. But they both know changes need to be had. Jools is in the middle of her change, actually. She's in the middle of her change. Tamron is kind of set how she is. So that is going to take a little bit longer. But yeah. Ultimately, I see positivity for both of them, to be perfectly honest. I see positivity for both of them. I don't see either of them as being like the outright bad guy or the or like the put upon victim or anything like that. I see misunderstandings. I see ideologies that clash, and I see the potential to grow past this situation. But like for Tamron, like mentally, it's a mental struggle. For Jools, financially, that's what I see here. Yeah, because Jools is obviously, her career trajectory is not the same as everybody else, but she needs to work in that vein, like switching it up and doing it just like everybody else is doing it, just like every other influencer is doing it. That's not going to continue to benefit her. Being outside of the grain is where she thrives. And people like that about her. Okay. And then Tamron, change your mind or stay where you are. Change your mind, or you stay where you are, or you go lower. You change your mind, or nothing moves. Okay. Chill. It's good that neither of them, like that both of them at least are thinking about how they're going to approach everything differently. So at least Tamron's willing to think about that. But them ideologies are going to mess her up in the future if she doesn't get it together. Anyway, you guys have a great day. If you want, you can check out my link in the bio. But if not, have an awesome one. And I will see you in the next video.